Hi, Darin Mangum here, the PPM attorney. Today I thought we'd literally roll up our sleeves and dive into all of what is in a private placement memorandum, all the key essential elements that you'll want to make sure your private placement memorandum has, regardless of whether you hire me or not. You definitely want to make sure your private placement memorandum has these in place. This happens to be a real estate investment fund that I put together, looks like 2004, so that's been a while ago, over 13 years ago. So, this is, and I know, nowadays, of course, you're usually delivering a PPM through in a PDF format. Obviously, in some cases, though, you're still having to print it off. As you can see, this one's pretty thick document. So, but yeah, I thought we'd just roll up our sleeves and dive right into what are the key elements. A common question I get is, why is there so much redundancy in the document? Why does it say repeat certain risk factors over and over again? And there's a reason for that kind of design, especially if you're ever in a litigation context. You're going to be using, or not you, but your litigation defense attorney is going to be using the PPM as a shield and walking the investor or whoever's suing you through the document saying, hey, isn't this true that you agreed to these terms and this is the definitive document? And they'll be walking them through all the various risk factors that are in the document, not just in one place, but in several different places in different forms. And so there's a reason why it's designed that way. In fact, this document was actually used. This is a real estate investment deal that was actually subject to a investor lawsuit, and actually the case was dismissed because they had the PPM, they had fair disclosure, and what have you. So I thought I'd just dive into the document itself. Obviously, there's certain key factors on the cover that this has not been approved or disapproved by the Securities and Exchange Commission, and that's something you want to definitely have right up front on the cover page, required by law to have that on there. Contact information, and then of course the elements. We could just maybe, instead of flipping through all the pages, just focus on this table of contents that you can see here. Basically these key elements include obviously the state notices. I mean, all of my private placement memorandum documents have, I just cover all 50 states as far as blue sky notices are concerned. The section that talks about who may invest, you want to make sure that's known right up front. Is this just for accredited investors only? Is it for not? Is it possible that a non-accredited investor could invest in this? So making sure those suitability requirements are disclosed up front, and then usually you have a summary of the offering, right? Which is sometimes referred to as a term sheet. It has usually it's kind of summarizes the various points, the key elements, the key deal points in the offering. And sometimes separate and apart from the PPM, summary or term sheet can be used to introduce the offering to somebody, but make sure it has the appropriate disclosures on there. Obviously, some of the other key elements here is use of proceeds, compensation, conflicts of interest. Obviously, the terms of the offering itself. What is the deal points that are being offered to the investor? A summary of the partnership agreement. In this case, this is an older limited partnership, but if you had an LLC or if you had a corporation, obviously summarizing those key deal points. Any sort of tax implications of the offering. If you have IRA type investors, you want to have ERISA language in the document, and of course any other sort of legal opinions or other supporting documents. In this case, because it's a real estate deal, we've got there's exhibits attached to the actual property itself. There's discloses different things about the property itself as an exhibit, and also financial information. And sometimes people, especially in a brand new real estate fund, they're like, well, how come we have to put in financial statements? Even though we're just a brand new fund, we have to just put zeros there. Certainly that's still required. And investors know that it's maybe a brand new investment fund, and that's the case. But those financial statements need to be included as well. And then typically another exhibit is the actual fund agreement or the partnership agreement, and of course the subscription documents is part of the PPM. Sometimes they say, oh, here's the PPM, and then I've got some subscription documents that are separate. No, really, all of those documents need to be in the same PPM document. And so when you're delivering the PPM, again, whether it's a paper delivery, paper document, or whether it's PDF, it's best practices to include all of those elements in the same PDF document, and having all the subscription booklet or the subscription documents be an exhibit to the actual PPM itself. Otherwise, you run the risk of there being a disconnect between what the subscription documents are saying and then the actual PPM itself, right? So I've seen that happen too many times. So anyway, just wanted to dive into the actual PPM itself. I know, again, I don't want this to be a long video. I just wanted to hit those key elements that really any private placement memorandum document needs to have. Feel free to give me a call. Happy to look at if you have a private placement memorandum that you're working on, or you need one, you need me to draft one for you, I'm happy to do that. Again, give me a call, 801-787-9072 is my cell, or you can shoot me an email or shoot me a text, and happy to respond and answer your questions. Anyway, thanks for watching.